it is the middle of August and it's time to go on another road trip. What am I going to take? Where am I going to go? Well, let me start off with one thing. The Mercedes S65 AMG. It is a powerhouse. It has a biturbo V12 that produces 621 horsepower and 738 pound-feet of torque. I managed to find something that has more power, the GMC Denali. It has 397 horsepower and 765 pound-feet of torque. It's a V8 6.6 liter Duramax engine with an Allison 6-speed transmission. It is a monster. The GMC can actually tow 13,000 pounds with the ball hitch. If you go for the fifth wheel configuration, you can actually tow 17,100 pounds. So I think you can understand here where I'm going. I'm not going to say it's going to be quick off the line, but for the size, it accelerates like a 747 at takeoff. You just feel it go. The best thing I could do is take it to El Paso for you. And here's why. You see, the S65 is a very expensive car, and this is a very expensive truck. The S65 gets 13 MPGs city and 20 MPGs highway. So what does a truck this size get? Well, not applicable. We do not get fuel economy stats for this 2015 Denali 2500 four-wheel drive crew cab. It's $65,000. So basically, in the light of if you can afford an S65, you don't care what the fuel costs. If you can afford one of these trucks, who cares about MPGs? But I'm going to find out today. Whew, well, it's really mighty hot here. Time to close the shade, put on the shades, and rock and roll. Let's get into some trouble. As far as trucks go, I don't have a very good history with trucks. I really don't want to say I'm the truck expert. Just to give you a flavor of how horrible my truck history is, I've only had two. And the first one was a Toyota pickup, which they don't have in the United States anymore. And the other one was a Mitsubishi Montero, which they don't have in the States anymore. So let's just say I'm 0 for 2. And, well, my expectations aren't that high for anything except this truck. You know, on second thought, I can't see with these damn things on. So let's just do this. This truck has a lot of features on it, and I'm really glad it has the vented seats. It blows a little air through the seat fronts here, and it feels really good to basically wick the sweat away on a hot day like today. It's only 108 degrees out. And another cool thing is the power sliding door in the back. It's a pretty cool feature. Not bad. Feel like 7-Eleven in here when that door does that, but it's pretty cool. And navigation. So we're going to use navigation today to get me to El Paso. Girth. This thing has girth. It's insane. And if someone said they never saw you coming, bullshit. This thing has so much bling on the front, you can't miss it. And it makes a great sound along the way too. And people turn heads and they notice. They notice this truck. It's bitchin'. I haven't used that word in a long time, but this is bitchin'. Kind of weird to say. I haven't really driven this thing hard, but going through some turns, you kind of go, that's interesting. Now, as far as city driving, I've done a little bit in Austin, which is horrendous traffic, and I've averaged 14.8 miles per gallon. And what I found is that once you get up to a cruising speed, 40 miles an hour actually gets it to a higher gear, so you end up switching gears and getting a lower RPM, which increases your fuel efficiency. Never keep your foot on it to the very end, especially in a truck this big. All this weight needs a lot more power to stop, and it's got great brakes, and it has even better exhaust engine braking for when you're towing. Woo! Actually, I went through a turn right there, and this seat has a lane departure warning. So when you are close to or going over the line and markings on the road, the seat will vibrate on the side of the road that you are basically encroaching. So it kind of feels like a cell phone in your pocket, but you're not. It's not in your pocket, you're kind of sitting on it. So it's a weird effect. I've got big ass mirrors, and this is a large truck, and keeping it in the lanes on this type of road is always fun. Going through turns and stuff with this 20-foot long truck, it's got a pretty big wheelbase, and you got to take it kind of wide, and I'm not even towing. If I had a tiny house to tow, this would be a really fun video, but I'm not a tiny house person. I'm sure if you did own a tiny home and you'd like to take it between Florida and Colorado or something, this would be the truck for you. Of course, this would cost less than your tiny home. All right, just had my lunch, and now it's time to get back in the car. And then we're gonna go fill up. Not the car, the truck. Here's your walk around. This is the only place where I can find enough room to walk around it. And if people say they didn't see it coming, I don't believe them. Look at that. Jeez. That's a big truck. Got our big towing mirrors. They actually fold in. And the cool thing is this bed liner is actually sprayed at the factory with the coating. And then the actual truck gate, there's the camera in there, but the truck gate itself has a slow release built in somewhere. Obviously we have our steel cables to support it. We also have our side steps here built into the bumper so you can get up in there. It's got a nice edge guard. Got some tie down points in there. It's fairly large. And then lifting it up, it feels like maybe 15 pounds. Lighter than that. Way lighter than that. And it shuts nicely and you can lock it. And as far as I know, that stuff is not optional. That comes with the truck as it is, which is fantastic. And you got a nice, I don't know what class that is, but that's a very large trailer hitch. And your exhaust. Look how clean that exhaust is. No carbon buildup in there. Anyway, that is the GMC Sierra Denali on the outside before we hit on the road. Oh look, Bose. Yes, this has a Bose stereo, also standard. Really, there aren't too many options in this except for the Allison transmission with the Duramax diesel. Now I have a case of water because I'm going to go through the desert. But this is the back seat, very large. It's supposed to fold up this way so you get extra room back here. Maybe carry stuff you don't want blowing around in the wind. Here we have all of our Audi-esque or S-Class-esque switches. Exhaust brake on or off, lane departure warning on or off, parking system on or off, truck bed light on or off, traction control on or off, and then all of a sudden I get this, which just controlling the brake pedal and accelerator pedal positioning fore and aft. I don't get why that's there. They could have done another system there, like, I don't know, we have other on and off buttons around here somewhere, and that I don't get. But if we come over here, now we have our child locks for the window and the doors, and then we have our window switches. It's only auto up and down for the driver. Everything else is auto down, but not auto up. So I have to manually hold all the other switches, and I figured, oh, come on. At this price point, you could easily replicate this one switch for the remainder switches. I don't know why, come on. And then, this is interesting, we have our mirror switches, and then this mirror one actually folds the mirror in. So press it to activate and deactivate, which is great. This is our four-wheel drive selections, two-wheel standard, four-wheel high, four-wheel low. This is our trailer brake. I'm not towing anything, don't need to show it to you. Auto headlights. And then we get into the steering wheel. So here we have cruise control, heated steering wheel, collision warning system, telephone, voice guidance, voice commands, and then this is the computer for here. So if I go through the computer, I can now scroll up and down into the different areas, and then like for nav, for instance, which is kind of pointless. I have such a tiny map in there. We also get settings. So some of this is tied into the MyLink system over here. So we can do our voice commands.
Say an audio command.
Cancel.
Goodbye.
And we exit out of that. And then we can go to this home button. And we've got our nav, OnStar, texting, weather, Pandora, audio. So that's pretty cool. We're going to go back to nav. And it's going to show us where we are in the map. And there it is again on the map here. If we go here, we can go up to info. And now we can see things like speed, trip A. I'm averaging 15.8 even with all this idling. I've done 80.8 miles since fill up. I can go 557 miles. I'm going to fill up. I'm going to fill up before I actually go to El Paso. So we're going to make a trip to the diesel station, top this puppy off, and then get real world actual results. Now, back to where I was. Oil life remaining, tire pressure, oil filter, something like that, and that's it. These are also electronic gauges up here. So those gauges are not actual gauges. See, they disappear and then they come back. We have heated seats, so cushion and seat back, or just seat back, 3 levels. And then we have cooled seats, so let's turn that baby on. And that actually activates some fans. They could have improved this, because what this looks like, this is the sliding rear window control for the back window. But these switches, you know, they look like, I don't know, OEM aftermarket, just the way they're done. And then you have nice switches here for the map light, which are also LED. And you just go, well, this part's nice. This is okay. But then this here, it's just kind of blah. So I think they can improve this area. And then this is obviously a great sunglasses department. And then as far as down here goes for office-wise, you got slots for pens or holding your phone, USB charging ports, standard 12-volt sockets, and then a grounded alternating current. So then we have our standard center console, cup holders. This is apparently the beginning of where you judge all trucks, is you just choose the truck with the best cup holder, and I'd say these are quite swell. And then we have another pocket here, almost for a cell phone. And then inside we have just a bin of everything. You actually can hang file folders in there, and then we have more USB ports and an SD card slot which holds my music for this road trip. And I would assume that if you had other audio devices, you can plug them in here, and then there's your extra 12 volt. So we are well equipped in the front and pretty good equipped in the back. Oh look, we also have Denali. And that's another cool thing too, is, you know, you're in a GM product, but you're not really reminded. You just see Denali, and it's kind of cool. You know, I don't really have the bow tie kind of thing. I don't have GMC written across my forehead kind of thing. This is like, I'm not a brand guy. When you put it in reverse, you get a great backup camera, and it has perspective on it, which means when you turn the wheel, you get these guidelines to show you where the truck will end up being. Very Audi-like. You know, overall, when I get into a new vehicle, I try not to read the manual for the first 2 or 3 days, because I want to figure out if it's intuitive enough to live with. And the first thing I notice in this GMC Sierra Denali something or other, it doesn't have any volume buttons. And I'm looking around going, that's weird. I got heated steering wheel, I got collision warning on and off, I got the phone, I got voice commands, I have a menu system, I have cruise control. Where's the volume? And then one day I put my fingers back here and went, what are these knobby Lego-like things back here? And then I realized, oh, the one on the right, that's volume. Up and down. That's really cool, little triggers. And then I got triggers on the left and right here for the track, next and back. perfect. So they've really maximized the steering wheel space here, and I think that, you know, a little bit more intuition on my part would have been required to figure this one out. But good job, GMC. Excellent work. This thing is very quiet and so smooth. 6.6 liter V8 diesel, and by the sound and just the name, you'd think that this thing would ride like a semi, and in some cases it feels very powerful like that, but in other cases you just go, where is it? Is this a turbine? Is this a jet? Because it just, oh, it's so smooth. Even the gear changes. Sweet. One thing I wish this truck did have is some blind spot monitors. Getting the mirrors to be angled right is very difficult. I can kind of get it right on the left side, but I still have this whole area just behind the B-pillar where I have to check over my shoulder. There's adjustments for the lower mirror, which kind of gets down to the rear wheel and then out in that lane, but you have the upper mirror, which is electrically adjustable, and it doesn't show anything. You have to just kind of angle it way out to get what's next to you and behind. By default, you can get this truck with a V8 gasoline engine, and then you can pay $9,000 almost for the diesel option. Well, here's the benefit. Diesel's $2.49 a gallon, regular maybe $2.32, but premium is $2.79.9. So there's a 30-cent price difference, and that really pays off, especially when this truck here has a capacity of 36 gallons of fuel. Well, let's see what the damage turns out to be. Okay, so while we're filling, now may be a good time to show you what's under the hood. There we are. So, someone's actually spilled, but we have a DEF tank on this. That's our battery, coolant, air filter. That is the beast. Washer fluid. Pretty cool. There's like a lot of room in here, even for the size engine it's got. And then you gotta make a huge reach to come up there and get that. And there we go. All right, we're in the truck, ready to rock and roll. I'm gonna get my key on. Used to keyless entry and keyless start, so let's see what this can do. We got our backup camera, and as you turn the wheel, you get perspective. A lot of friendly people here who love this truck. Okay, so we got trip A here, 0 miles per hour and flat out. We've been idling for a little bit, trying to get navigation going. I have the address of the Chevron station here that I always go to in my videos, and we will now hit go. 622 mile range, and that is the scale of this drive. It looks like it's going to take us through San Antonio. I think I might change that. I think I'm going to go through Fredericksburg, mainly because I don't see a need to go on 35. There's no need to go on 35. So I'm going to go down the road a little bit here towards Dripping Springs, let it recalculate, and I'll give you an update. Got it in drive. We are moving.
Please turn next left, then turn left immediately.
Well, in typical Austin fashion, we are starting off this trip in stop-and-go traffic.
Turn left after 1,000 feet onto West William Cannon Drive.
And as a result, GPS is always trying to reroute me to get me out of the traffic situation. And it's a Friday, It's 3:24 in the afternoon. You're just asking for trouble anywhere you go here. So all I can really do is ignore GPS.
Please turn next left, then prepare for a U-turn.
Okay, and then go on my normal route. I don't see a need to really go loop-to-loop, figure eight kind of stuff to get around normal traffic in Austin and keep going. Although this, sitting and stop-and-go traffic does really harm fuel economy runs. It's not good to sit and idle. You're getting 0 miles per gallon. And it's a hot day, 100 degrees right now, AC's on, it's sunny out, it's kind of miserable for everybody. So why don't we just all enjoy the misery together? We are 56.8 miles into the trip, and the GPS has finally settled down, and I finally managed to try to figure out how to display miles. Our range is 504 miles to the Chevron station in El Paso, and I'm not going to show you the range yet on the fuel tank until we get to our 100-mile point. But meanwhile, we're a few minutes from Fredericksburg, Texas, and I might even stop and get some coffee because once I pass Fredericksburg, there's a couple hours of driving before I can find the nearest coffee. So, there we go. Okay, well, I've got my coffee, and I am set to go. Ready for the 100-mile update? 100.3 miles, our range. 628 miles. And what do we have left? 461 miles left. I gotta say, I'm comfortable in here. I have a lot of choices here on the steering wheel, with the armrest. Everything just sort of fits right. The only problem I have is the volume knob. So if I reach for the volume knob and then pull away too quickly, I might knock this thing. I find that my hand sort of hits it. And if I hit it up, obviously it goes into neutral. I haven't done it yet, but I've been really close to doing that. So I've been using the toggle or the trigger switches in the back to turn volume up and down. And I've had to do that a lot because when I turn the camera on, I can't have this music on the video because otherwise it would get flagged by YouTube and the video would get taken down. We don't want that. Well, we have a bit of a traffic situation here with a helicopter and a Penske truck. So, bad news travels by helicopter, and there's no need to speed. You have to stay alert, no texting, no drinking and driving, obviously. And if you're drowsy, get off the road. Don't risk that. This is the middle of nowhere, and you're going to have a helicopter to get you out. That's not cheap. So, be safe. Here's the thing about driving a truck like this. Everybody notices you. It doesn't matter who they are. They see a nice truck, they check you out. And I'm not the kind who looks back. I don't go, is this really that much of a status symbol where people have to go, hey, check that out? I don't know. But what I can tell you is that in comparison to a Mercedes S65, this garners more attention. When you get that kind of attention, you must be prepared for it. And I don't know if they're thinking, who is that guy? Is he somebody's boss? And who does he know? Is he a contractor? Is he good? Is he bad? Either way, right back at you. What that means is this really is a status symbol. Whether you use it for towing or use it for work or go off-road or not, you're driving one of these to get attention. You're a rap star, you're a rock star, you're a super ninja star, coder, programmer. All right, here's some truck envy. I bet you they'll check us out. Oh God, did I just check them out? What a fail. Alright, let's see if we get truck envy from a Ram owner. Damn, did I just fail again? I'm just trying to see if they're looking at me or my truck. I mean, that's a pretty big truck. Does he look? I'm not looking. Alright, this is Sierra SLE crew cab with the tow mirrors and gas engine. Interesting. Did he look? So I brought some really cool snacks with me. Dried baby sweet pineapple. This is from Trader Joe's. They're crazy little awesome little pieces of pineapple, like baby pineapple pieces, dried, and they taste awesome. And as far as sugar, 23 grams of sugar for a quarter of a bag, and this bag is 6 ounces. So you can eat quite a few of these, drink a lot of water, and have a lot of well, it's pineapple. You can have a lot of sweet dreams. 70 miles an hour seems to be the brick wall. It looks like now my instant fuel economy is in the 20s and above rather than in the teens, and as a result my fuel range is actually increasing now while I'm getting closer to my destination. So with 403 miles left to go, I now have 572 mile range. So the math is working for 70 miles an hour and below on the highway. At 7 hours, 500 miles, and I have 403 to go, so 1 hour, an hour and a half, 7. So I have about 4.5 hours of driving left, I think, which would take me to 4 times 7 is 280, and 280 miles puts me more than halfway, so I'll be at the halfway point probably in about hour 45 minutes. Let's see. It's 6:16 now, so 8 p.m. I'll be at the halfway mark. Let's find out. 7:47, 7:47, 7:47 p.m. Not 8 o'clock like I said it would be, because we sped up. But nearest makes no difference. 279 miles into the trip. The range is 373 miles. Even at 80 miles an hour, and even at an instant consumption right now of 12 miles per gallon, I have still averaged 17.7 miles per gallon and 63 miles per hour. Oh, and here comes a rest area. Perfect, because I gotta take a break. So this is my first break since getting coffee in Fredericksburg. And you know, I don't really want to push myself. I've got a case of water and I've got my pineapple here, but it's very important to not develop health problems by basically avoiding voiding, and take a break, relax. I mean, how often do you do this, right? For me, I do it often. For you, but for me, not that often.
Drive straight after a quarter of a mile.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how you get in a truck, baby. On the road again. What's this U-Haul passes me in this other truck? Whoa.
drive straight after 700 feet onto I-10 West.
Okay, hey, I
Please
don't...
drive straight.
Yeah, okay. Think you'd say, hey.
Bear right after 46 miles.
Oh, yeah, baby. Power! So the setting on the GPS is basically shortest route, and it wants me to exit here and then take one road for like 100 feet and then get back on Interstate 10. And I'm over here in Fort Stockton. How stupid is that? You want me to exit, slow down, and then get back on the interstate, and that's going to be better for me?
Then drive straight.
Get off at this exit? No.
Please drive straight. Then turn left immediately.
Look at that. You want me to basically go through town to bypass town. Well, I have a 200-mile update for you. There you can see it says 200 miles left. And my range, 277 miles. Alright, so I've done 367.1 miles, 17.3 miles per gallon average, 65 mile an hour average, which is pretty damn good. I gotta get back to driving now. Look at that sunset. Look at that. There's a storm off to the left. I timed that perfectly. And to El Paso we go. So this is what it looks like at night when you're driving, and I turn the display off. There's a setting where you can actually say display off, but when you do an adjustment, like let's just say turn on the recirc here, the display turns back on, and it comes back on to where you were last time before you turned it off. So now you can go display off, and it turns off, and now I have less glare when I drive. Something else that you can see is that I can use this keypad here, basically this joypad, whatever you want to call it, to go to different settings in the screen, right? So I've got audio on, and if I go right, now I can see my audio favorites, and I can also change to just browse or go through different things, but I'm going to choose favorites, and then these are the channels that I've stored on the presets for the stereo. So I'm able to go through this without having that screen on, and I can make my adjustments from here. Of course, you can adjust the volume here with the triggers on the right side behind the steering wheel by going like this and up and down. But if you use the volume knob over here, the screen will turn back on. So you have to always turn it off afterwards if you want to keep it like that. And then as far as lighting in the cabin, this is what the LED light looks like. And then there's also another function here for all lights, and that turns on all the LEDs, all 4 of them, and that's it. These mirrors are huge and they don't really dim. The outside mirrors don't dim, so I basically turn down these dials so that I don't go through too much eye strain at night. Well, 100 miles to go. I'm averaging 17.3 miles per gallon, 68 miles per hour, and I've done 467.1 miles, and my range is 180 miles. So 100 miles to go with a 180 mile range. I would say I'm doing pretty well. Well, this is El Paso at night. It's kind of crazy because it's a Friday night. And I have 1 mile left to go on my destination. And I have 119 miles left on the range. So, kicking ass again in a diesel to El Paso. Alright, here's my exit. Airway Boulevard. Towards El Paso Airport, but we're going right over there. There's a Chevron station where I fill up. Man, this has been a really quiet truck.
Please turn next left. Then you will arrive at your destination on the right-hand side.
Yay.
Please turn next left. Then you will arrive at your destination on the right-hand side.
Woohoo! Here it is, the Chevron station. Excellent work. The fuel tank is on the left side. Let's do some stats. Range 109 miles. Total trip was 568.6 miles. I averaged 18.1 miles per gallon, and I averaged 69 miles an hour. And the time right now is 10:36. It actually updated automatically when I crossed the time zone. Don't know when, but it did it. And that's my trip. I just spent the night at a hotel and I'm getting ready to head back. This is a great truck. Unfortunately though, it only makes sense if you have to tow something. If you think this is what you need for a road trip, you're wrong. This thing costs $65,000 and you can easily get an Audi A6, an Audi Q5, an Audi Q7, a BMW 3 Series sedan or wagon, BMW X3, and a BMW X5. All in diesel flavors for less or the same money as this truck. And you'll have a better ride. You won't have to take all your luggage out when you check into the hotel at night. And overall, it's easier to park. And then when you get to the place you're going to, you can drive around town and check it out. And you're not using 13 miles per gallon to do it. In essence, this is a great truck, but you don't need it. Unless you got a tow. Or unless you're a construction guy. Or unless you want a status symbol. Otherwise, there's a lot of other stuff out there. Let's hit the road. And so I'm sure you're dying to ask, gee Brian, so is this truck any good? Yeah, bro. If you are in a construction business and you need to carry a lot of weight, 17,100 pound towing capacity makes this truck a clear beast. And my trip did not include any towing. So expect about 50% worse fuel mileage and probably double the fuel bill for the distance I did from Austin to El Paso. Which means that the stay at the Marriott is cheaper than driving anything with this truck from Austin to El Paso, which is under 600 miles. This is the 2500, which means it's beefed up. Look at the leaf springs, look at the frame, look at the differential, even the 36-gallon fuel tank right here. So everything supports the purpose of towing. Driving it from Austin to El Paso unloaded without towing anything I got pretty good results. There are a few points where at this price range I would think a luxury car would fit the bill better. So it's all relative, I guess, but my main point is if you think you need a truck to do a road trip, there are other cars out there that are diesel variants. You can get a BMW X3, BMW X5, BMW 5 Series.
Turn left after 4 miles.
BMW 3 Series, Audi A6, Audi Q5, Audi Q7, Chevy Cruze, all of that in diesel format, and they will all double or even triple the miles that you can get out of this truck. So rather than 17 miles per gallon, you can get close to 55, almost 60 miles per gallon in these other vehicles. Plus, when you get to the hotel, you don't have to empty out the truck bed, right? Because if you just go to sleep, you can leave some of the luggage you don't need in the car, in the trunk. At this point, though, you need to vacate the bed, and that's kind of a pain in the ass. So you may be wondering the same thing I'm wondering. If it's that heavy, if it's nearly 8,000 pounds, and it's diesel, and it's got a full tank of fuel, and it's just empty, it's not even towing anything, how long does it take to stop from 60 to 0? Well, I'm not going to measure it, but let's see if it can stop. Let's go. 20, 30. 40. 50, 60. It stops. Well, here's what the acceleration is like. I'm doing 70 miles an hour, and you can see the truck over there. Floored. Oh, 80, 85. Hey, check it out. Some pretty old trucks on there. Well, I don't know what year they are. 60s? Chevrolet up top and a GMC down below. That's pretty cool. If you know what they are, let me know in the comments. Well, GMC, I'm so sorry, but I'm at the truck stop, Love's, and I hope the truck takes B15, because that's all they got. Have fun with that. Did you notice the price of the fuel today? $2.48 for diesel, $2.49 for 87. So diesel is cheaper than anything. In this truck, for instance, the premium's around 8,500 bucks. So you may get that back in resale because it's a diesel and will last longer, but the lifetime version of it would mean that you're paying less for fuel. So less for fuel and more fuel economy at the same time. It's a no-brainer. I wear my sunglasses at night.